Good morning. Hello. Hi. Thank you for being here and thank you for allowing me to be part of your day. I'm Casey Durango with Go Keto with Casey, and I like to share how I lost 97.4 pounds after starting the ketogenic protocol, how you may be able to lose weight, improve your health, and regain control of your life like I did. And if someone can it looks like people are popping in and saying hello already. DH writes, "Good morning." Can you hear the birds? There were so many birds around me. Kimberly Reed writes, "Good morning from East Tennessee." And Mother Hubbard writes, "Chilly Chicagoland says good morning." So it is real. We have our doors and windows open here. It's so pleasant. And there are a lot of birds. So I'm going to just jump right in. And today is, as the thumbnail says, me before. I have long ago posted photographs from before I started the protocol. So there's nothing new to see there, but I wanted to talk a little bit differently about it. And I'm going to show you a slideshow if it works. Fingers crossed. And what I want to point out is that not only would I have not made visible to anyone, and much less the public, photographs of myself previously, I would not have seen them. I could not bear to look at photos of myself. And I bet you many of you have been through the same thing. You've felt the same way. For some people, seeing a photograph of themselves was what triggered them to make a change. It's like someone shared with me long ago that they saw a photograph of themselves at their child's wedding, and they had no idea. They you know they said, I had no idea I had gotten that big, which sounds weird because we inhabit our bodies. But denial is very powerful. And I know that I was simultaneously in denial about my size and mortified at my size. It sounds like you can't be both, right? But I was. So I'm going to play this slideshow, but I want to draw a very fine point. I went from not being able to bear to see a photograph of myself. So I didn't see these photographs until after I had lost a lot of weight. And then friends and colleagues randomly, uncoordinated and unasked for, sent them to me saying, "I hope you're okay with this, but I want you to see." Because they would have taken photographs at different things. There's one at my my husband's niece's high school graduation. And of course, I was trying to stand behind everyone, even though I was the shortest one there, because I was trying to camouflage myself. Not easy to do. And at my a little shower I held for my daughter when she was expecting our granddaughter, and then some work things, and then just random photographs. One my husband took of me when we were on a vacation, and you'll see it. It'll pass by. So people would not. I begged them. I said, "Please do not. I don't," because it would send me into a depression. When I saw images of myself at our daughter's wedding, and I had worked very hard not to be photographed. It was not a formal photograph thing. She was married in a public park, and we got a journalistic photographer, and I said, "Please, no photographs of me." But yet there were. I actually spiraled into a depression for about a week, a really bad one, to the point where I had to talk with a psychologist friend of mine who did not realize that I that I had random bouts of clinical depression. So went from that, and so now I post them. Why? What's changed? I can't identify with that person anymore. It's like that was a different person. Now, obviously, I'm the same person, but I just can't imagine being in that body. So, if anyone has felt like I have felt about their corporeal self and seeing images of that self and thinking there's no use, I'm too far gone. It's too no. If I can do this, you can do this. Keeping in mind, I didn't make a change until I was in my mid 50s. I had given up on losing weight. I didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. Googled how to not to take insulin for type 2 diabetes. Came across the white coat video of Dr. Eric Westman of Duke University, who became a pal and a colleague. I was never a patient of his, but that day, January 8th, 2014. So now we're talking about over 11 years ago. And I made the change. I had been overweight, obese, and morbidly obese for 30 years, from my mid 20s to my mid 50s. So I'm going to say hello to people who are still popping in and leaving comments. Oh, by the way, little housekeeping. If you have a comment or a question or an observation and you like it kind of pinned, there's a speech bubble with a question mark in it. If you put your comment, question, observation, whatever there, it will get pinned and I will be notified and I can address it. And even your message will show up on screen. So it's pretty cool. And also, I do want to thank some of you have already been very generous. There's a support button below. Sounds tacky. Just trying to earn my keep, y'all. But I really appreciate it because I will continue to provide public and free content for as long as I can. And of course, I have my private Patreon support group, some of whom are here. So that's a private group, and there are certain things. There's a free trial you can try for a week. But with that Patreon pledge, you get every weekday morning video snippets from me. And depending on your pledge, going up from there, private patron only live streams right here on Crowdcasting, going up from there, a one-on-one with me monthly. So thank you for all of that support. I truly appreciate it. If you are viewing this on replay, either on Crowdcast or YouTube, thank you for being here and thank you for your support. All right, let me see what we've got, and then I'm going to try to play the slideshow. Let's see what happens. Oh, and Colleen S. writes, good morning from Michigan. So we've got Illinois, Tennessee, DH is from somewhere. I'm in Piedmont, North Carolina, and it is gorgeous here. The dogwoods and the red buds and the daffodils have already bloomed and gone by, and other things are coming up. So here we go. Fingers crossed that this works right. I hope it does. I'm going to try to launch the slideshow. What should happen is you see the slides and I move over to the side. DH is from Montana. Wow, you're up early. So here we go. Fingers crossed. Let's see. Oh, cancel. Let's try it this way. That did not work. Studio, video. Okay, here we go. So these are random photographs of me. Like I'd said, these are work photographs. And the one to the right was the one I was at the high school graduation, trying to camouflage myself. These, I was at a triathlon during the summer of the triathlons. Move more, eat less. The woman there is my friend Tracy, who's the one that pointed out. She's my British friend Tracy. She pointed out my hair is not blonde, it's white. And I'm laughing and cutting up and carrying on. And I look like a giant there, but that's just because Tracy's even shorter than I. And then I'm getting ready to do the pool portion, and the woman there who's, telling people when to start. But this is how I actually felt. I was not laughing and feeling great about things. I did not feel good. And look, I look like a blueberry. That is not the face of a happy person. And even the okay, now the On the left, the blue shirt, that was during the shower for my daughter when she was expecting our granddaughter. The one to the right was after the granddaughter was born, and I was heavy. And this was when I was in Chicagoland at Legoland. And I was actually, that was truly a happy smile because I had lost some weight. I just felt better. So I went with some friends to, now let me see why I stopped this. I don't know how to stop it. Okay, remove. Okay, so that last one, I'm next to a giant Lego robot or whatever, but I felt so much better. That was a genuine smile. And you can see there how tiny, I mean short I am. First of all, could y'all see that? I hope so. The difference, thank you, Kimberly. The difference between the smiles and the earlier photographs and then that last one, even though I hadn't lost much weight, by that time I felt different. I'd probably been doing this about a month or 6 weeks. And I went up with some friends to Chicago in the middle of winter. I had a great time. We went to Italy, and I had no problem whatsoever. There's a place where you get these giant sliced meat sandwiches. And so I was waiting, placing my order. There were people in front of me, beside me, going down the line. And I said, "Can I just get the meat?" "Oh, sure." And they looked at me kind of weird. I said, "Just the meat." And then the guy to my left who was placing orders says, "Can I have her bread?" "Absolutely." So even though I was a kind of a novice, I was all about it. And I felt great about myself. I still was pretty spherical. I was still pretty round because I'm 5'1", right? So imagine about 100 pounds on 61 inches of vertical height. Oh, Deborah Rundle writes, "Good morning from Vernon, British Columbia. We really do have a diverse group." So I look at those photographs I have no reaction to them. It really is like I'm looking at photographs of somebody else. I made a video. I'll try to remember after this, when I post this on YouTube, to post a link to a video that I made a long time ago. And I think the title was actually, "I was so fat." I was cleaning out a closet in a spare bedroom. And mostly there were our adult children had left things in our house, and I was clearing those out. And there were some clothes in there, my kids' clothes. But at the very last thing I got to was this, on a coat hanger, was a black dress with a black jacket. And I can only think that I must have gotten it for a funeral. It was, very nice, but I didn't really wear things like that. Even though I was in a professional career, I just didn't dress with, they used to call it a shift, a sleeveless dress little thing, and then a suit jacket that went matched. Very high quality. It was mammoth. And so I looked at it, and I'm holding it. And I'm like, it was so wide. It was so large. I said, was this mine? Yes, of course it was mine. It couldn't be anyone else. No one else. Couldn't be anyone else's. And I was not appalled. I mean, it was what it was. But I put it on, just on myself. And I made a video, and I came creeping around that corner because I wanted to show how large it was. But the point of that was also, when I was that size, I couldn't imagine, literally could not imagine, couldn't picture myself smaller. I couldn't. It would be like, picturing myself as a pterodactyl. I just couldn't imagine me being smaller. And now, when I put that on, I couldn't imagine filling up that dress, which I'm sure I did. I want to say it was probably a 24W. I don't remember. I donated it. So I don't still have it, but I did make a video about it. I might have said in the video, if you are at a point where you can't imagine either feeling better, coming off of medications, being less embarrassed or self conscious about your size or how you move through space, if you can't imagine it being better, it can be better. Now, there is a question in the Q&A bubble, and thank you very much, Kimberly Reed. So I'm going to start. So isn't this cool? Besides the weight loss, what are some of the other positive changes you've experienced that you didn't expect? Thank you for that question. Almost everything. I didn't expect my joint pain to resolve, and it did before I mean, like within a week, 10 days. Everything on me hurt. And, people say, well, of course, you're a big fat person and you're walking around, of course your joints hurt. But why did my fingers hurt? Why did my wrist hurt? I didn't walk on my hands. All of it resolved. I didn't expect to be able to comfortably sleep through the night on my back and not snore. I'd probably still snore a little bit, but no, I would wake myself up snoring. And I couldn't get comfortable in bed because it was just too much mass, right? Lay on my back and it would all kind of, I had a big double chin. I didn't expect that. And now I'm almost like a sarcophagus at night. I lay still and I sleep. And if I snore, it's not waking myself up. And hopefully it's not bothering my lovely mate. I get up once or twice because I have to use the facilities, but I fall right back asleep. I didn't expect to be able to go into a standard clothing store and buy standard clothing. I started out definitely 24W jeans at Costco, the Gloria Vanderbilt ones. And you might be familiar with them. And so I started out with that. And I almost put it in the slideshow, but it's such an unattractive photograph. I took it out. There is a photograph of me standing in Costco with a size of 24W jeans in front of me. I didn't keep the fat clothes. Oh, that was something I didn't expect. Like many of us, I had, 2 or 3 different size clothing depending on the weight fluctuations. It never fluctuated very much downwards. But, you hold on to it because, even if you're losing weight, say, I better hold on to it. No, there was something that was different about doing this. It felt like this is different. So I donated all the clothes. But then someone, don't you have a picture of yourself standing inside your big jeans? Well, I didn't. So one day at Costco, I grabbed a pair off the table. My husband took a snap of me. Horrible photograph. Not because my husband doesn't know how to take a photograph, but he doesn't. But because I'm under fluorescent lighting. Terrible. Awful. And I was, I wasn't prepared. So I didn't expect. So even now, I'm wearing leggings right now. And they are a size, they're either petite or small from Costco. And I remember the last time I got another couple of pairs because I wear them all the time. I held them up. We're in the checkout line. And I'm holding them up and I'm telling my husband, I said, I'm you know what? I'm going to go put these back. These are too small for me. He said, girl, what's wrong with you? That's exactly what you're wearing now. I still will when I'm doing laundry. I'll get my clothes and say, I can't fit these. I can't fit in those. Of course I can. They're in the laundry because I just wore them. Didn't expect that. Didn't expect, well, I was hopeful that all my blood work and all that stuff would be good. But I didn't know. And it is all good. I take 0 medications and I was on the verge, I know I was, of type 2 diabetes. My blood pressure was problematic. And everything hurt. I had acid reflux. That, gone. That's not been so. So and my mood regulated. Oh, that's a biggie. I could feel depression coming on. I've often likened it to standing on a railroad track and you can't see the train and you can't hear the train, but the track is vibrating and you know you're about to get hit by the train if you don't get off that track. I could feel depression coming. It would be, over half a day or a day, and then I'm ugh, awful. Any of you who have experienced depression, it's very difficult. And the people around us who love us, who say, "What can I do?" and you say, "Nothing." I have not had one of those rumbling on the railroad tracks at all since then. Now, not everyone experiences that. I firmly believe that a lot of mine, other than not being happy with myself, but I think mine was actually a chemical, a body chemistry thing. Perhaps the insulin, dips and peaks uh, impacted my depression. Colleen writes, "Your story reminds me about trying so hard to be a better version of myself and feeling like it was never going to happen, no matter what I did. It really was lonely and sad place to be. So happy for your happiness." Thank you. "I'm so grateful for stumbling on to keto and wonder of wonders. I have finally found a happy place with how I feel about my body." Well, that's the best thing of all. How hard have we been on ourselves? How much, you should pardon the expression, how much does feeling bad about yourself feed on itself? You feel bad about yourself, and then you do something that you've always done. And so we say, I'm going to, I'll feel better if I'm going to treat myself because, comfort food. No, it's not comfort, it's torture. Or I use food to cope. No, we use food to not cope. So I don't know about you guys. I turn to food for nothing. Not when I'm angry. Around Go Keto with Casey, we employ the BLAST method. We strive to not make decisions about eating if we are bored, lonely, angry, stressed, or tired. Oh, and by the way, y'all, you patrons who get the postcards, I've just taken delivery of the next postcard. I send out postcards with little notes and about 4 times a year. And this was just very straightforward. If hunger's not the problem, food is not the solution. I think I wrote no fancy logos, no fancy graphics, just the truth. If hunger's not the problem, food is not the solution. Food should, if you don't know whether you're hungry or bored, you've just answered your question. But when you're lonely, angry, stressed, or tired, you can be more vulnerable. And we make poor decisions when we're vulnerable. But thank you very much, Colleen, for that. And thank you for the thumbs up and the hearts that people give. Very much appreciate it. Can anyone identify with what I'm talking about the photographs and not being able to see them? I mean, my family knew, even our daughter and granddaughter were here last weekend or the weekend before. And my granddaughter wanted to take a picture of all of us. We were, my lovely mate, her uncle, her aunt, me, her mom. So absolutely, I said, so my granddaughter politely said, "May I take a photograph of everyone?" And everyone said, "Sure." And then my daughter must have seen I got I said, "Oh, yeah, sure." And my granddaughter said, "Nana, what's wrong?" I said, "Oh, no, absolutely nothing. You go ahead and take your photograph." And my daughter said to her daughter, "That's good. Just don't show it to Nana." So, I mean, this was like a family theme. And I still don't like to see a photograph of myself, I don't like to be on camera, which is weird because I'm in front of a camera literally 6 days a week. But there you go. Never would have thought this would be true. Kimberly Reed writes, "I avoid photos like the plague." I'm so grateful to my friends and colleagues who did send me the photographs. And like I said, it was uncoordinated. These were different individuals from different parts of my life. I just want you to see how far you've come. And then it was interesting. A friend of mine saw a photograph of me from my heavier days. And and they said, "Casey, I don't remember you ever being that large. I never thought of you as that large." Well, I was. But isn't that interesting how we see things through our own filters and people see us through their filters and we see other people through our filters? Humans, we're diverse. Deborah Rundle writes, "Yes, I identify with everything you are saying." DH writes, "I have always had a body image issue. No photos." I know, you know, or, seeing your image like in a large plate glass window. Ugh. Or trying on clothes in a store when you go into the dressing room. Three mirrors. You're surrounded by mirrors. There was the old Murphy Brown television show. Candace Bergen's character, Murphy Brown, was having a bad day. Something was going wrong. She was like getting pummeled with one thing after another. That was just she says, "God, what a day. While I'm feeling this way, I ought to just go try on bathing suits under fluorescent lighting." Right? Ugh, terrible. So it was bad to see. And I still get a little bit freaked out. I'm going to be very open with you. We are considering, we have probably another week to make some decisions. Another Go Keto with KC cruise. And we've got the thing reserved, and if we do it, there will be a lot of information going out. Lisa Pennert is the travel coordinator. One of the reasons there are bigger reasons that we have to get straightened out, but one of the things that makes me hesitant is I don't want people to be disappointed in me in the way I look. I want to be a good representative for the ketogenic protocol. And, my husband shakes his head when I say this, and he says, "Babe, you're a good representative for the ketogenic protocol." But I have issues with my body, much different really now than they were before. And I'm getting better, and I work at it. Kimberly writes, "Like you, I've been back on keto for about 6 weeks now, and I already feel so much better." When we do it to the point that it's right for us, it's amazing how quickly you actually feel better. So that is great, Kimberly. I'm so glad for you. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to share. I don't think so. If we are going to do a cruise, and there have been lots of people, I kind of floated the idea and got a good response. But then, like I said, a couple of little hiccups have happened here behind the scenes. Nothing overly dramatic, but we just need to dot our I's and cross our T's. We'll be doing that again. It would be to the Eastern Caribbean and departing out of Miami. And you don't have to, stick with the group all the time. We can do what we're going to do, but I will let you know. Do me a favor. If you feel like it's something you'd be interested in, shoot me a message. You can see my blog, CaseyDurango.com, and message me there. If you're a patron, you can message me through Patreon. And just let me know. I would really love to know if there is enough interest. All right, friends. If I can do this, you can do this. I am 100%. I promise. Because I am not a very disciplined person. I am the opposite of a disciplined person. I do not have strong willpower. I am the opposite of having strong willpower. I just didn't want to take insulin for type 2 diabetes, and I'm not going back because now I know. I needed to deal with the way I felt about myself, the way I felt physically. I wanted to be healthy. I'm happy to have lost weight. So now that's taken care of. Now I could, perseverate about all the other things that I need to perseverate about in my life. But the food is not one of them. Food is not the boss. Oh, by the way, link to my merch. You don't have to buy anything to be 100% successful. Green book, thank you. It tickles me every time somebody buys one of these green books, but you can see it in my blog. It's on Amazon. Link to my merch below, t-shirts, mugs, etc., and stickers. People like stickers. So thank you for allowing me to be part of your day. Thank you for showing up and commenting. And I hope to see you again next Saturday. God willing, and the creek don't rise. Thanks. Be sweet.